एक मिनट रुक जाओ, रेडी होने दो। चलो ये कर लेते हैं। This could be a great intro.
Hi, I'm Akshay.
Hi, this is Saurabh, and you are listening to the Founder Thesis podcast. We meet some of the most celebrated startup founders in the country.
And we want to learn how to build a unicorn.
Hi, I'm Tamanna, co-founder at Convosight.
Path to finding our final destination can be full of surprising twists and turns, and at times you may not even realize your final destination when you start the journey. Tamanna Dhamija quit a well-paying job in an investment bank in the US to start a community-led platform for women in India called Baby Destination. But through a journey of twists and turns, she realized that the in-house technology they had developed to monetize and grow their community was actually a larger opportunity, and they pivoted to becoming a B2B platform that on the one hand helps influencers to scale and monetize their communities, and on the other hand helps brands to do the middle of the line marketing by inserting themselves in conversations inside these communities. As we enter an era in which consumers have started to distrust paid advertisements on social media channels, this offers brands the opportunity to engage with their end customers meaningfully and is a viable alternative to the more traditional digital marketing spends. Here's Tamanna telling Akshay Datt about how Convosight was developed.
So, Tamanna, you decided to do like an engineering degree. Tell me, what was the aspiration at that time? You know, when you were growing up, did you want to like go down that path of being in the IT domain or something like that? Or, you know, like what kind of aspirations were you growing up with?
So it's a very interesting question. I did an engineering degree because my dad thought that'll be the best thing for me to do. I had actually taken science in my 11th and 12th with both bio and math. My mom wanted me to become a doctor, so I sat in all the
Okay.
medical entrance exams.
Well, your parents had like very ambitious plans for you.
Exactly. Very, very ambitious, very traditional path, right? You either become a doctor or an engineer. But my mom she couldn't become a doctor herself.
What do your parents do?
My mom's a teacher. She's a physics teacher.
Okay.
And
Nice.
my dad is an engineer and an MBA. So that's what I did. I took all the medical entrance exams. I used to hate, there was so much cramming to do. I just could never do it. So I did not clear any of them. And then the next option was to do engineering.
Were you the eldest child?
I was the younger one.
The younger
We're
one.
two.
Okay. And what did your elder sibling do?
So he is an engineer, and then he did his MBA in the US. But he wanted to be an engineer. So I'm sure if you ask him this question, he used to write ER in front of his name since he was a kid. But
So you gave both these entrance exams. Then why did you choose engineering?
I don't think I had an option. I didn't get through medical entrance exams. Even if I did get through, I don't know what I would be doing there. I liked the profession. I was always very scared of looking at blood and doing all that. And I heard that it has crazy study hours, which I didn't want to go and cram a lot of books. So then this was the only option.
And did you enjoy those 4 years of engineering, or was it a get through?
Yeah, I think I enjoyed because I think I learned a lot from outside books, not just from the books. Did I enjoy coding? I don't think that much. I don't think I understood the concept that well. For some reason, I continued to always come first and second in class. I don't know how, but I didn't think that's the problem. I didn't really get into programming or like it at that point that much. And then when it was final year, then again, I told my dad, what do I do next? So he's like, why don't you sit for your CAT entrance exams? So then that's what I did. I think 2 months before the exams was in November. So he said, you're anyways taking care of your grandma, just do that. So that's what I did. And then that's how MBA happened.
And again, you chose MDI because it would allow you to continue to be in Delhi, close to family.
Yes. So MDI was my dream institute. because I wanted to be close to family, because I wanted to be close to my grandma. I figured I could come home over the weekends. So I only took the exam to get through MDI. I didn't want to go through any other college.
So post MDI, where did you go from campus?
So post MDI, my dream job, there's a lot of that you'll hear in my story. I went to DSP Merrill Lynch, now BlackRock.
So you did a finance specialization?
Yeah, finance and marketing specialization. And I used to think I'll be really good in marketing. So let me do, there was this term, MOFS, Marketing of Financial Services. So I said, that's what I want to do. So it's quite crazy. Like, my professors, like I remember they wanted me to sit in Goldman Sachs interview. It was more like an equity, like a research analyst role and all that. And I just ran away like from outside. So again, I only wanted DSP Merrill Lynch. So I then thought that let me get into finance. The closest to that would be a quant role. Then I started preparing for it. I took 3 interviews. I think I got all 3 jobs.
Wow.
And then I selected the one in New York again because this is where we live. This is the one in Manhattan. It was General Motors Asset Management.
And what's the role there? Like, what does a quant do in an asset management company?
This was the pension arm, which one of the largest corporate pension funds. And this was a new team which was starting out with, so I was the first hire in that team. And my job was to build models, using several tools, MATLAB, Access, VBA, build models to support all the investment classes. So equities or fixed income. So I built like a trade cost reporting model, a risk assessment model. So it was a very interesting role because getting exposure to all the different asset classes, and I had no idea how I'll do it, but I said, let me just, get right in. And I learned just everything right before my interview. Somehow I got through it. So the rest of my career at GM was, I was a portfolio manager, managing internal money. I built my own trading model, had a fairly good run because this was when the market had tanked, and my model was based on investing in stocks with quality and value.
Okay.
So I was like outperforming the market every year.
Wow.
That was GM.
If you like to hear stories of founders, then we have tons of great stories from entrepreneurs who have built billion-dollar businesses. Just search for the Founder Thesis podcast on any audio streaming app like Spotify, Gaana, Apple Podcasts, and subscribe to the show.
What drove that desire to quit well-paying, lucrative career and become an entrepreneur?
There was a bunch of things that happened. One, General Motors was going through a lot of problems. A lot of money then was being outsourced, managed by external managers. Actually, my portfolio and one more was the last internal portfolio standing. That's just one, right? The direction, a lot of people got laid off. It was never my ambition to become like a CEO or CIO, and I just wanted to learn and continue to do more in investments. But one thing that shook me, first time I'm watching people getting laid off and, the traders I used to work with. And so that was one. The second was that, while I enjoyed doing this, it's not that, I was staying up at night thinking about this. Like after a point, it became like very, very
routine.
Yeah, I felt there wasn't more learning left for me. So I used to have a lot of free time there.
Okay.
That's when I also started our nonprofit because I just had a lot of free time. And I started thinking that, I should be doing something which is very stimulating. Like I need to find, my purpose. And that's when I became a mother. And all these things were happening at the same time.
And what was your husband doing at that time? Like what was Tarun doing?
So Tarun was at Deutsche Bank at that time.
Okay.
He's always been in fixed income investments, fixed income risk. That's been his career. So he was at Deutsche Bank. And I think he was also going through a similar phase, right? After working in the corporate world for 15 years, it's like, I'm sure he has his own experiences. But I was pretty determined that, I'll have to do something very intellectually stimulating and where I get a chance to do something kick-ass and I need to find my purpose. And then that's when I became a mother and I started thinking like I was fascinated, like just, by the thought of building something for moms because I couldn't believe the experience of being a first time mom. I'm like, there's babies born all the time, left, right, and center. But it's like really hard what a mom goes through. Like nobody knows, So I felt like it's a very complex decision making part in your life, and something can be done to solve the discovery journey for a mother. Like, why don't I do something, here? And that's where the idea of Baby Destination came to me. And just one thing led to another. I started talking to moms, doing research. I started talking to people in India. And I'm like, we have to do this. So then I decided to quit.
You decided you want to do like a content play, like create content for moms, or like what was it that, I mean, how would you solve the problem of first time mom?
So I wanted to solve the discovery journey of a mother. Just very simply put, to put it in simple language, right? From the time you're pregnant and then when you become a mom, there's lots of decisions you had to take. Like lots of decision, right? Every day it's how to take care of the baby, what diaper to buy, right? How to pick a nanny, like so many things, right? And the inputs in that decision is what you of course feel is right, and there's often not a lot of time also, right? And a lot of information which is thrown at you, but often there's an opportunity to learn a lot from your peers, and I went through that myself. So when I was going back to work after my maternity leave, my son, he refused to take a bottle. I used to breastfeed him and he refused to take a bottle. And I read all the blogs, what the doctor said, my mom said, everybody's giving me advice. And I'm like, damn, how do I leave him and go, right? Because there was no backup for me at work. I was the only portfolio manager. I somehow got into in a WhatsApp group where there was a friend's wife who went through the same problem. And she suggested a bottle whose, the nipple was such that she'd gone through the same issue. So I bought that bottle and it worked for my son because I was going crazy, I was buying like $100 bottles and, like what is going on? Like which child doesn't drink from a bottle? I'm like, something's not right. So this is just one incident, right? Lots of such things happened, which made me realize that it's not as easy as everyone makes it sound. And there is more that could be done in terms of enabling moms to make the right decisions without so much stress of everybody telling you what to do. So, what I thought could solve this problem is content, community, and the availability of those products and services. That was the initial idea.
Okay. So it's like a social commerce kind of a concept which you had.
Yes, social commerce, but the idea was content, community, because there's a lot of expert information available out there. If that is coupled with peer experience, and then you can make a trusted decision, which is either how to take care. It's just an informational, decision, or it is a decision to buy a product or choose a service. So,
and those products would also be available on Baby Destination, which would be
yes.
the monetization path.
Yes, yeah.
Okay. And why India?
Yeah, because I just felt like when I spoke to my friends, in India, we did some research in India. I tried to run focus groups. I just realized that it's a bigger problem to solve in India. In US, that there's a lot of protocols around things, right? Like there's certain basic questions are answered. Like there's no question mark on should I give cow's milk or should I give. It's a very mature and an evolved market. But in India, the need gap is higher. And that's why the opportunity is also higher. And just, of course, the population is much higher, so more babies are born. So that's why I thought we should do this in India.
Okay. So tell me about the go-to-market journey. Like, when did you quit your job and launch version 1 of the product? And how was it compared to what you had originally planned?
So I quit in 2015. I actually wanted to quit in January 2015, but I had a personal reason due to which I had to prolong it to 2015 end. So then I quit and I came to India. And then just first few months were again just spent in talking to moms, figuring out, how to do what to do. And in the end, the first version of product was just babydestination.com with a lot of content, which was informational content, because the idea was to learn, right? Like, let's just have content out there and learn. It also had a couple of features which would enable the community part of it, right? It wasn't a forum, but we used to call it stories at that time. It's very different from Instagram stories, but there was a content initially and then a community feature. And then there were products that you could also purchase.
Okay. Like products were like you were handling the end to end from inventory to logistics to all that, or was it like through some sort of alliance?
So we were handling end to end. I don't think
Okay.
anyone knows so much details, but yes, we were. So we thought that initially when we were testing this out, we'll just have exclusive products, right? So a number of them were actually international brands and very exclusive, useful products, which were not available in a lot of places. So we were sort of doing end to end. And that's how we launched in mid 2016.
And what did the market tell you? Like three different legs. One is a community leg, and then a product leg, and then a content leg. What did the market tell you? What did people want?
That's exactly what the market told us, that are you a content platform, or are you a community, or are you a commerce platform? That's exactly what the market told us, right? So, separately on these pieces, what was missing was the journey, right? It's like in my mind, there was an ideal journey. Somebody comes, right? They read a relevant content piece, and then they hear other moms' opinions, and then they take a decision. If it's a product decision, then that's the journey. If it's not a product decision, then they read the content, they hear other moms' opinions, and then they're able to take that decision, and they become an active part of the community. So I thought it's as simple as that, and that's how it flows. But that's not what happened, right? People used to come, read the content, they used to share the content. So actually, our content was shared a lot. Like, we had a lot of organic traffic on our website because it was very, very useful content. But these were
Okay.
people who would come, who would read content, share. Like, we used to have sometimes thousands of shares on our content organically. But that was it, right? It ended there. And then there were people who would come and just click on the product and buy the product and go. And we're like, what is going on? Like, this is
Okay.
not.
So these were
You
like unrelated audiences.
Yes, they're used to, because again, a consumer doesn't always go through that journey, right? A lot of people would buy the product just because it wasn't available anywhere else, right? And we were experimenting with all channels. So we realized in September or October that we're doing too much, right? We're trying to build three different things together. And just because maybe we were first time founders, and we just went right in, right? Like, didn't really think too much and thought that this could be done. And plus we were bootstrapped. So
And Tarun also quit his job at the same time, and like,
yes. So Tarun had moved to India with me. He was very convinced of the idea as well. So we moved, and we were trying to do all of this with a 5 people team.
including content writers. Like content is not easy to scale.
Yeah, I used to, it was me and it was one intern. So
Wow.
I did all the sourcing myself, like, tied up
Hmm.
with 60 plus brands. I don't know how we did all of that.
This is while you also had an infant to take care of.
Yeah.
Wow.
The important thing there was, we realized that very soon that this is not happening, right? It's just an unrealistic expectation. It's not adding value. It's confusing moms, right? We're doing content really well. Like at one point, just through our organic reach, our Facebook page reach was 15 million organically. So there was a lot of, information moms were getting through the content, but just in the community, right, to come back, like they would come once and they would not come back. So all the things that we've learned now on what to do while building a community, we didn't know back then. The retention was a problem for community. They used to just come back for content, and Facebook was our biggest organic channel, Facebook page. For commerce, it's like it used to cost money to acquire a person to transact, right? And just didn't even understand how will we ever make up that cost. There was no clarity. We knew nothing basically. So we decided that, we will roll that back and just do the content and community piece. Like just take out the commerce piece and just focus on uh, content was working. We said we'll continue to do that. Community, we said we'll figure out where to do. Because fundamentally, without community, the idea was not to build a content platform. Community had to be a part of it. And that's where we realized that if most of the organic reach is coming through Facebook, which means moms are spending a lot of time on Facebook. But a page, you cannot build a community on a page. And we started looking at Facebook groups, and we used to get a lot of organic traffic from other Facebook groups.
Like people sharing content or.
Yeah, we used to share a lot in other Facebook groups also, right? Our content, and we used to see how moms are engaging. But the problem was they weren't informational. So, it's like Mumbai moms, Delhi moms, like they were not informational Facebook groups as such around parenting. So that's where we felt that if the idea is to give value to moms where they are, if this is where moms are, then we should build communities on Facebook and then, figure out they'll still come to the website to read the content, because that experience cannot be replicated on Facebook. But for the community, if they are there, Facebook groups, there's nothing better than Facebook groups to provide that experience, right? To initiate that trust and connection between members once they are in a community, and just frequent, meaningful interactions between members, which is very important for a community to thrive. That's how we decided to build the community piece on Facebook.
And when was this?
This was in July 2017.
So fairly quickly you did the pivot.
Yes.
And you also were exploring WhatsApp as a community channel, right?
Yeah. So also WhatsApp. Yes. So we used to go to a lot of offline events for moms, and we used to then, just create WhatsApp groups of all the moms we would meet. So we started creating local and hyperlocal WhatsApp communities. And we had like hundreds of WhatsApp communities at one point.
Okay.
So Facebook groups and WhatsApp groups, because those are the two channels where moms are already, and it has to be a pull rather than a push. You cannot drive people onto another platform and then expect them. How would they come back if somebody's asking a question? So we were clear on that then. So that's where we chose these two platforms. And we also decided to build like not one community, but communities around specific pain points. So we learned, I think I would say, pretty fast, right? Like we got the insight, right? That communities, yes, but it has to be around specific life stages, specific pain points.
Like what? Give me an example.
So like the first community we launched was home remedies for babies and moms. So it was specifically around home remedies, right? Then another community is kids nutrition and recipes. So like, specific or weight loss post-pregnancy. So we kept launching these specific communities for a life stage and a pain point.
So what was 2018 like? How big did the community size grow in Baby Destination? And when did you finally go in for the external funding?
Yeah, so 2018, we continued to grow and we kept launching more communities. I think by the end of 2018, we had about 600,000 members in our communities.
Wow.
And also in the first quarter of 2018 is when Facebook noticed us, because we were just growing very, very fast. They did a case study on us where they featured our story and how we've scaled communities. So it was a very, very interesting and exciting year, right? We kept building more tools. We kept launching more communities. That's also the time where we started exploring monetization. And really, what caught our attention was that 40% of conversations were all around products again. So that initial hypothesis was correct, right? Like they are out to discover products, and they ask about certain brands. And what we thought is, what if we create a way for brands to engage meaningfully with these mothers, right? Like this is where they come at 2 a.m. at whatever time to ask, right? This is where they're really seeking authentic advice, which they're getting from peers. But brands can also give, educate, right? Give maybe more scientific advice, bring in experts and all of that.
Like a content marketing channel for brands.
Yeah, we didn't know how it will play out, to be honest, because what we know is that, the only reason a community thrives is because of its organic nature, because it's a safe space. So it's a very sacred space. You cannot, the minute you go and bombard it with an ad or a blog that a brand is sharing, that's it, right? So we didn't know how, to be honest. We just wanted to find out how to solve this problem. So we thought we'll talk to brands and we'll figure out that, do they even know Facebook groups exist? If yes, have they tried to talk to these consumers, right? Why, if they have, and why not? And that's where we realized that there's a big gap. We felt like there's so much talk of digital that happens in the world, but a lot of it is sitting at an eyeball level, right? Brands are present everywhere on the internet, which is, like you said, right? Whether it's content marketing or it's ad, or it's just like, just let me go and find that consumer and build a custom audience and show them ads again and again and again. And the frequency with which I show the ads is where I believe I've been able to convince them. But we realize there's no way for brands to understand what are the real pain points of the consumers, because consumers are talking in real time in Facebook groups, WhatsApp groups, right? But they don't have a means to get those distilled insights, and they don't have a means to engage. Like it's just never happened, just because communities never existed at that scale. That's where we said that there's an opportunity here. We started doing our early experiments around community marketing, just really enabling brands to first understand, again, we say top 5 pain points, and then engage with moms through either educating them or, engaging with them to share their experiences, or giving them an exclusive value. Just one of those three things. It cannot be anything else. Right. So we started doing experiments and we found a fair bit of success in community marketing. And we used to always call it purpose-led marketing, middle funnel marketing, just very simply. Where are your consumers talking? Where are you listening? And where are you talking to them? So the consumers are actually talking in these groups, Facebook groups, WhatsApp groups, Reddit, wherever. You're trying to listen to them, right, through social listening and all that in on Facebook pages, Instagram, everywhere else, but not these groups. And then you are trying to talk to them or market to them or show an ad to them again on all these other broadcast channels, right? Pages and Instagram and YouTube, which is great. They consume content there, but they are not talking there. It was as simple as that. We just had to figure the right way to add value to the consumer and to add value to the brand.
So you were giving insights to brands that this is what people are talking about, and then you were crafting communication for the brand, or they would craft something and then you would like publish it in the group, or like tell me the nuts and bolts of this.
Yes, the concept of community marketing starts from understanding the distilled insight. And it's very simple. Like it's not any personal information. It's not that. It's just that if I have, 100,000 conversations that my potential consumers are doing, I just want to find out what are the top 5 things that bother them, right? Do they want to learn about nutrition and what kind of nutrition?
And this was a paid thing, or like you were charging brands for the insights, or
So we were not always charging them. It's just that that's what we used to use. It was a part of like how we used to function, right? We were anyways using insights to create content. So initially, it wasn't really charging them. Initially, it was even just to find out, do you even know this, right? Because you do a lot of research through surveys and all that, and consumer emotions once a year, meeting your consumers. But do you know every day what they're talking about? So
got it? Okay.
insights, which then leads to marketing. And marketing means once I understand the pain points, I try to answer them. I try to answer them through providing the right information, through enabling other moms to bring out experiences around that pain point, or through providing an exclusive value. Uh, so that's what we enabled then. Brands would not be a part of the community. We were very, again, a community is a very sacred place, right? So if they enter the community, that's it, right? The trust. They cannot be a part of the community. All the communication is done through the admin of the community, and it's all done with the proper disclosures. So it's not like covert marketing, right? It's like, imagine if there's a community of entrepreneurs and Akshay wants to go and talk there, right? Like, or he just wants to tell that entrepreneurs to sign up for a podcast, right? And he speaks to the admin and he tells the admin, hey, I'm, like, first I want to know what are the 5 things that, entrepreneurs talk about. And maybe one of those is that we want to get visibility, right? We want to get an interview or a podcast, or we want to get visibility. And then if you go and market there, you could just do a 2-minute video where you're talking to them and telling them to sign up and telling them that, what would be the benefits of doing so. Or you could say, hey, let me just give you tips on how to give a good interview, right? So it's all meaningful, right? So people are not going to say, oh my God, why are you doing this paid partnership with Akshay? Because they're looking for that opportunity. And it's very commonsensical when you think of it, but somehow that's just not how marketing is perceived, right? Like,
So you started working with these brands which are making products for moms and babies, and your team would create the content in different ways and insert it into the conversation, and then you would provide reports to brands like in terms of what is the ROI on what they spend. Like that's what was 2018 was about, creating this kind of a model.
2018 was figuring out this model, really, right? Like it was figuring out what would work, right? We cannot go and insert in conversations. It has to be through the admin. What would get accepted, how to show ROI, how to show an increase in conversation. It's basically word of mouth. You get into communities and that's the only place you can generate word of mouth. You can have your evangelists talk about you because they're already present in communities. How to measure word of mouth, tried a lot of metrics. So it was really figuring that out.
And what was 2019 about?
So 2019 was about FCLP. So we got selected by Facebook for a program called Facebook Community Leadership Program. where they had selected 100 community admins from across the globe in a program where they were going to provide us with some funding. And it was a 9-month long program where we would get a chance to meet other admins and go through a structured learning program on community leadership. So when I saw that program, I was like, this is like for us, right? Like, I'm not the kind of person who fills any award applications or anything. I just don't like all that. But someone sent it to me and I was like, wow, like we should fill this, right? And the money that we got was $50,000. We thought we'll use that to build more communities and try to build more experiences in communities for moms even in tier 2 cities.
Okay.
So 2019 was about that, while continuing to scale up our communities, scale up the community marketing. It actually started in end of 2018. So 2018 end is when the first FCLP meetup happened.
Okay.
But 2019 is when that program was concluded. And with that, the idea of Convosight was born. That's what 2019 was like, oh my God, how do we now build Convosight?
Tell me the genesis of Convosight.
Sure. So when I went to FCLP in the first meetup, which was at Menlo Park in late 2018, I was just fascinated. Like, I was amazed by every single individual in that cohort. Like, I've been fortunate to have very good experiences in my life and meet a number of inspiring people, but these were all like, kick-ass community builders who were doing like really meaningful work across the globe, different categories. So I was just trying to understand, right, their motivation. They were all doing it. And one thing really struck me was none of them were really making money. And, time and again, like, it was a very, very close-knit program. So we were like together for 4 days, no devices, nothing, just understanding each other, going through this program. And what really came out of it was that we were apparently one of the most advanced in that cohort in terms of the way we were monetizing and in terms of the technology and tools that we had built. Everyone else is a great community builder, right? Some of them would just decided to do it for nonprofit purposes, but everyone else was struggling to monetize, right? Was struggling to, like, sort of, you take your life's worth and then figure out, how do I make a livelihood? Because they love doing this. A number of them were doing this full time, right? But there was just no way to earn money. And that thought just didn't leave me.
Nobody had access to that kind of data which you had because of the tools that you had built.
I don't think it's that. I just think that it's the mindset. When we started Baby Destination, we started with the objective of, launching a company, right? Like, the idea was to have a business model around it, right?
Right.
But most of the community admins, unless it's a brand community, they start a community just because they're going through a pain point, or they have a hobby, or they're just helping a friend. Like, they just start a community without
It's
even
a
knowing.
personal passion. Yeah.
It's a personal passion. Yeah. And that's very important to note. They are very different from an Instagram influencer, a YouTube who starts with the objective to monetize, right? These individuals mostly start with an objective, just because they're going through a pain point. And because of that, the idea of monetizing is never there. Plus, it's not like, who talks about monetizing communities? There's no talk about it, right? Like, you talk about monetizing Instagram influencers, no one even used to know community admins. So with all of that, right, once they start a community, they'll build a community. That's what, before they realize they're into it like full time. They're doing this. It's extremely gratifying. Every day you come and, people are thanking you, and you're just in this really gratified state, but you don't know how to make money. It's not about tools or data, or like, if today brands would understand the value of these community admins, and if they were discoverable, then the way that they go to Instagram influencers, this should be more than that, right? Yeah, this would at least be that much, if not more, because Instagram, and with all due respect, that's still broadcast. It's all followers, right? This is an engaged group of audience that organically comes. You cannot pay money to build a Facebook group. There's no way you can do an ad. That's the reason. There was just no opportunity for them to do that unless they themselves decide to upskill themselves, to go and make a pitch, to go imagine going and selling this to a brand. And the brand is like, what? Like, what's a Facebook group? So it's a massive education exercise to do this, right? To brands. So this is where, we thought that everything that we've done for Baby Destination If we were to put it, we just thought that, oh my God, we've done everything for baby destination, right? This is sort of the POC. If we were to take this and put it on a platform and then enable all these admins to build better communities, if we could upskill them, professionalize them, and give them an ability to monetize, this would be like a whole new economy community. This is the supply, and then brands have the demand. So that's how this idea came. There was no no thought to do this before FCLP.
What was the plan? Was it to build a place where community admins can come and plug in their community, and through API they can start seeing some data, and then brands can also come and see the similar kind of a data and then transact with the community admins on the platform? Is that what you thought? Or like, tell me what you thought of the product being like.
We definitely thought that we'll create a product that removes a lot of clutter for community admins, right? Like while they're on Facebook, of course, Facebook has given us all the opportunity to build the community, but there's a notification overload. There's so many notifications in that one feed, right? 100 different types of notifications. So one is we wanted to give them a space where they are able to see all the data, all the metrics, right? The growth, engagement, and the conversational insight metrics about their communities, and manage their communities from one place, get recommendations on when to post, what to post. So it's like, your assistant to manage your community. One is that. Second is we wanted to do a number of workshops, etc., for them to upskill them, to tell them about how to monetize, what to do, how to go even make a pitch, how to do purpose-led marketing, right? Not covert marketing, and then how to warm up your audience to it, right? All of that, which was also like, we've done like 200 of these workshops so far. Now on the brand side, we wanted to still maintain the sanctity of the community, so it's not like an ad platform where you can just come and right, we maintained the middle layer of selling to the brand, right, aggregating the communities, and telling the brand the power of communities, educating the brand. Really, it's a massive education exercise on both sides that we've gone through. And then all the sort of workflows of community, of posting, etc., they're all automated within Convosight. But it's like we are facing off with the community, and we're communities, and we're facing off with the brand. And we started doing this with enterprise brands first, because we realized that this is new, right? It's just digital marketing 2.0. Like it's a new way to market. So if this has to get accepted in the world, it has to be the larger brands embracing it first, and then it'll go downstream.
How long was this journey to pivot from baby destination to Convosight?
This was actually pretty quick. Like I said, that late 2018 is, when I first thought of this. And by April of 2019, when I came back from my third sort of session at FCLP, we had decided, we'd already started working on it, like thinking about it from March. And our first product was out in October 2019. So we launched in beta in October 2019, and then Jan 2020 is when we launched. Went all out.
How did you do the acquisition of admins, the community owners?
So, the first few admins were the ones that, I knew or I spoke to. I met a number of admins in India. I found out what are their pain points, right? It was really hard initially, because even the thought that they can monetize, or somebody even telling them, even if it's another admin, how will that happen, right? It's just too much, right? They're fundamentally not business owners. That was the difference. They were not in that mindset.
Right.
So first couple of months was a lot of those conversations, right, where they're like, how will this even happen? And, some of them had already tried and failed a lot, because brands used to keep comparing them to Instagram or other platforms or bloggers. So initially it was just that, but then, we went out and did what I think we do reasonably well, which is create a community of them. So we created a community of community admins, and we call it growth and monetization for Facebook group admins. We just thought that just really need to bring them together to share learnings, experiences, and we can share because we could be considered experts in building and monetizing at that. That's one thing we did. The second is we set up a community success team. This is the team that's out there we're really serving admins, right? That's why we exist today. And this team's role is to go out, talk to admins, upskill them, tell them about Convosight, So really the largest source of acquisition, it's all organic now. It's like 80% of it is through our community, word of mouth, referral, and through our community success team.
The community success team would be creating content, creating workshops.
Yeah, not content as such, but yes, workshops, it's doing demos, it's, telling them on how to monetize, right? Just helping them. So the success team onboards them and helps them with their first monetization campaigns.
Okay. So how many community owners are on Convosight today?
There's close to 40,000 communities on Convosight, and they collectively manage 350 million members.
Wow.
So that's, I know even we sometimes look back and say, wow, because there's lots of communities, right? There's 1.8 billion people in communities now. So it's pretty large.
This is Facebook communities only.
These are Facebook right now. We've also expanded to Reddit, but yeah, this is primarily Facebook. And like I said, I mean, now it's more and more just organic discovery through our community. We also do very, very informational content on convosight.com. So our SEO has started picking up now this year. So a lot of international admins, they just discover us through our content, and then that's when they'll install Convosight. But again, the idea is it cannot be 100% turnkey. Like they would require some hand holding, which is why we were very clear that we'll need a community success team, right, to help them get set up. It's like once, it's not just a hope, right? Once they monetize, then they're all out, right?
Right.
It's just that upskilling that they need, which just wasn't available before this.
And how do you acquire brands? Like personal outreach and cold calling and stuff like that?
Yeah. I mean, we don't do cold calling as such, but it's targeted outreach. Initially, it was a lot of it, which I used to just do personally on LinkedIn, targeted outreach, where we had a pretty good response rate, like 9 out of 10 people would come
Wow,
back.
that's amazing.
Yeah. And every call that we've had so far, like again, 9 out of 10 of those calls have converted into paid pilots and customers.
Wow. So what's the secret behind that?
It's like, think about it. If I come and tell you that, Akshay, there are these entrepreneurs in these 3 communities, they are talking about this. Like you wouldn't even blink, right? You would be like, okay, can I get in front of them?
So every message you send on LinkedIn, you would include some nugget of insight about that brand.
I wouldn't. I wish it was, I was doing that like in a very disciplined way. I wasn't doing that, but.
Or in conversations, at least, like when you had calls, then you would present
Yes.
some insights, and that would like open their eyes and say, wow.
Yeah. I mean, insights, right? Just even saying like I said, right? Where are your consumers talking? And you always think of it offline. Oh, they're talking, and I can go to an event, I can go to, but just telling them that these spaces exist, right? This is a reality. People have changed. Of course, COVID has taken this to a different level altogether, but consumers, right? They moved from TV to digital because consumers moved online, but this is where they are spending their time now, right? Like, and you have an ability to coexist with them. It is a reality. It's not just, a thought. So I think that's the reason. But now 70% of our business from brands is again all referrals now, referral and inbound.
So what is your Convosight's monetization? Like part of the spend by the brand stays with you, I'm guessing?
Yes. That's our monetization model. And now we're also planning to launch more self-serve models. So now Convosight 2.0 will be about D2C brands having the ability to market in communities. We're expanding across more categories, and it'll be self-serve or semi-self-serve models.
Okay, right now it's pretty high touch. Like there would be a account manager for a brand who would work with them to create that, and then your success team would also work with the community owners to help them execute the campaign.
Yes, especially the first time, right? And I don't see that success team going away as we become bigger, because as more and more admins are coming on to this, they're doing this for the first time. But yeah, that's the model today. Yeah.
How did you manage like the payment ecosystem? Because you would have people from all over the world. Do you need to have like some sort of bank linkages across the world, or how did you manage that?
So we first year was only in India.
Okay.
Right. We've only now started expanding to US, and next was Southeast Asia, and now it's US.
So monetization is not global right now, although the tools can be used globally by anybody. Okay.
Yeah. Monetization was primarily in India, and now it's international, and that's where the payments tools are being upgraded to ensure different geographies. Like we're now working with 2 customers in the US, so it's now being scaled up.
Okay. And tell me about the fundraise journey so far.
So we've raised about 13.5 million so far. We raised our seed round through Sequoia Surge and Ivy Cap, which was last year in March. And we recently raised another round through the lead investor was Qualgrow and then Unilever Ventures, and then Sequoia Surge and Ivy Cap also participated.
Okay. Unilever is betting on it because it's a way for them to market their brands as well. Like they would have personally experienced the power of the platform, I guess.
Yeah, so we were doing some pilots with them, but they're very different teams. Unilever Ventures is, it's an entity based out of UK. So it's, we when we decided to partner with them, we did our sort of, diligence. And of course, because, so it's different, like the brand teams are different and the venture arm is different.
So my last question to you, what's like the roadmap now for Convosight? So Convosight 2.0 is going to be more self-serve, less of the high-touch element in it. So which would probably allow you to onboard brands at a faster pace. Then what next after that?
Yeah, so Convosight 2.0 will do, this solve this problem of education at scale also. It's really that there's things that we're doing which will make communities very legit, right in front of you. Will make communities extremely discoverable. Our users are superstars, and I think they should be out in the world. Like currently there's no way, like if I was to ask you, there's no way to tell that, hey, these are the 100 communities where I'll find my consumers, right? It'll enable that discovery. It'll give them their personalized spaces, landing pages where, they can exhibit their work. It will give D2C brands, smaller brands, an opportunity. Like everybody should have the opportunity to do this. Everybody, like I'm saying, even you, right? Like everyone should have the opportunity to go in front of their consumers in communities. And that's what this will enable. The enterprise model will continue to stay high touch, but that's just enterprise brands. But for all other brands, whether it's local businesses, like imagine a local community, right? And a coffee shop that just wants to talk to consumers. So I know it sounds really big, but that's really the dream. This should happen in the world because community builders work really hard. They've done all the hard work. That's the thing. Like they've gone through years of hard work in building this, and now is their time to, monetize it meaningfully. And it provides tremendous value to the consumer and to the brand when it's done in the right manner. So that's the direction that we are going in, also expanding to other community platforms.
So that was Tamanna Dhamija telling Akshay Datt about how Convosight was developed. If you'd like to know more about it, do log on to convosight.com. That's www.convosight.com. This episode of Founder Thesis podcast is brought to you by Long Haul Ventures. Long Haul Ventures is the long haul partner for founders and startups that are building for the long haul. More about them is at www.longhaulventures.com.